Hey, welcome back to Always Learning. What are we doing today? Well, today we're learning about time management or task management or project management. And I'm going to talk to you about time boxing. Harvard did a study back in 2018 and they found that people got more done that used time boxing as their kind of main tool. And so I've done it for 30 years. We just didn't call it that. We called it something else. But it's basically three things. You're going to start off first, you're going to brain dump. It's kind of like think of it as you're waking up from having a dream and you're trying to write down so you can remember what happened during that dream. But you just write down all the things in the morning on a blank sheet of paper that fall out of your head that you need to do. And there needs to be no random order to it, just capture it on a piece of paper. And then you're going to take that list of all the things you need to do and you're going to pick out three of them. And out of those three, you're going to assign a time, like how much time you think it's going to take. Let's say you're going to do an expense report. It normally takes you 30 minutes. Maybe you've never timed it before, so maybe you plan on 45. And you take that task and then you simply put it in your calendar. And you do that with three things every day. All right, for a brain dump, you're simply going to take out a sheet of paper, and as fast as things come out of your head, you're going to write it down. Expense report. We're going to fix the attic floor. Workplace objectives. Let's see, I got to do my taxes. Let's put that down. I got to schedule the lunches for next week. I've got to trim the posts on the deck. I've got to repair the garage wall, sand it and paint it. Let's see, I need to catch up with Max. I got to check in on Kinsley and Pat's bathroom project that's going. I got to set up a lunch with Lyle to talk about future rent and inspections. Also need to edit some videos for Always Learning. Need to do that. And what else? I need to plan a fishing trip dates with my brother Rich. Got to do all that this week. So those are the list. And now I'll transfer them. I always brain dump with a clean sheet of paper. That way I'm not constricted by what I have remembered in the past. So everything's new that falls out of there, and then I'll simply take my old to-do list. Yes, I still use a Franklin planner, but I love it. Paper's never failed, and I will simply transfer that over. If it's a duplicate, then I'll just cross through it, but I make sure that everything now is written on my new to-do list. Here's a little hack when doing a to-do list. If you take it and you basically fold it into thirds, I always do this all the time so I can put it in my planner. But then if you also, once you get it folded into thirds, folded upon itself, then you basically fold it in half and then fold it in half again. And what that does is it basically makes it into 4 quadrants. And then as you're mentally brain dumping, over time you'll just naturally start putting them in those quadrants, and it just makes it easier, especially if you're one of those people that just does a to-do list every day new and that's what you use, you don't refer to an old one. Then you can put down different things in there. It's like work in one, family in the other. I'll put like Little Greenhouses, which was our rental company. I'll put in that. I'll put in my main job, and then I put in family or home projects. That's kind of how I do it. But just kind of keeps your lists organized if you're batching different projects when you're putting it together. Now that I have my to-do list, I'm going to pick 3 things, and I'm just kind of picking these randomly, but you're going to pick them and then highlight them or whatever you want to do. You can put, Franklin Covey does A, B, and C. For A is for things you have to do, B are the things you need to do, C are the things you want to do, and then you can, prioritize those. So you can get as exact as you want, but I'm just going to randomly circle things here. I'm going to circle objectives I need to get into workforce or work day, and then I'm going to do my lunches for next week, got to get like 3 places called, and then my expense report. So those are the 3 things. I'm going to take those and then I'm going to put them in my calendar. Tuesday morning, I'm got some free time. I'm going to block in my expense report, and it usually takes 30, 45 minutes, but for the sake of this purpose, we'll go ahead and just put down 1 hour because it's going to be a little bit more involved this time. Now I'm just going to look at the rest of my schedule and see where I've got some spare time. I've got a lunch in Hutchison, and then that's when I'm going to do my objectives, put that in workforce or workday. And it's going to take me a little bit longer when I haven't done it before, so let's say 3 hours. So I got 3 hours blocked off. And then you simply put in the rest. I'm going to put in, I'm driving to Salina and to Manhattan, and so I'm going to call while I'm driving those 3 places. And then you just start, once you've got those in there, if there's other stuff you want to kind of start filling in, putting in the smaller rocks, and you just keep filling that in. As the old adage, you plan the work and then you work the plan. And you'll find that you get more done just by having it down on paper. You don't have to remember to stop and think about what you're doing next. You just look at the schedule and you do it. In addition to time boxing, there's 2 things I kind of want you to think of. They're things that really, when people ask me why I get so much done, I think it's these 2 things I kind of keep in mind. And the first one is we waste a lot of time in the going from task to task. So if you have a written list, you've got a better chance of, you don't have to sit there and remember everything in your head. You simply got to remember where that list is. And so if you go back to when you get a project done or a task done, and then you go and you look at your to-do list and you do the next thing that's on there, or the next thing that you think is your top priority, and you start that task. If you think about a train's one of the most efficient way to move boxcars across the country. Doesn't matter whether they got coal in them or TVs or lumber or cars on there, or they're going to move it, and the gap between each car is the same no matter what they're hauling. And so no matter what task you're doing, if you can shorten that gap and keep that gap, like a lot of times I would guess people sit there once they get a project done, they'll sit there for 10-15 minutes, start thinking about what they should do next, rather than just looking at their list and starting on the next task. So that gap gets wider. So instead of 5 minutes, it becomes 15. And if you do that on every task, if you add that up, if you're doing 10 tasks a day, that's 100 minutes a day. 10 times 10 is 100. You're basically squandering 100 minutes just trying to think about what you do next. You add that up over the course of a week or over the course of a month, it adds up to real time. So that's the first thing. The second thing is the magic in assigning time, or a box of time to every project that you do, is you mentally can move those boxes. No different than just, is there enough space to put that box in there when you're loading a truck or packing for a move, or you're packing your suitcase, you're putting stuff in situations where there's space for it. And if probably the best example is, I used to mow the grass, and if I mowed it this way, the long way, it would take me about 45 minutes. If I mowed it going across it, I had more turns, shorter rows that I was going, it would take me about an hour. And so if, let's say I mow every Tuesday, and Tuesday it was going to rain, so I couldn't mow Tuesday, but I know this week I'm mowing the long way, or I can mow the short way. It's going to take me 45 minutes to an hour, but I need to mow the long way, or it's going to take me longer. It's going to take me an hour. So I need to find an hour to block a time. So you look at your calendar and you're like, well, it's supposed to be nice Thursday. I can mow in the morning before I go to work. I've got the flexibility. I can just go into work late. And the nice thing about that is you always get grass in your hair, or you get sweaty, or you smell like fuel from mowing, so you can shower afterwards. So it's more efficient. Or I can do it at the end of the day. But you know how long it's going to take. Maybe Thursday night you're supposed to go to dinner with some friends. but you get off at work at 4:30, and so you do the math, and you're like, okay, I get home at 4:30. We're not going till 6. It takes me 30 minutes to shower, so I've got an hour. So 4:30 to 5:30, I can mow, and then from 5:30 to 6, I can shower and be ready to go to dinner, so I can move that over. So you're just juggling these boxes of time, and it's that way with every task that you do. And I think those two things you'll find you're more productive this year. But the biggest thing is write down your to-do list. Thanks for watching.